session called ICONversations. So if you've never checked out an ICONversations, this is an opportunity for you to come into a room and sit down and listen to some agents that are producing at those high levels, give you tips and tricks and answer questions. Make sure that you stick around every Friday. Come check out ICONversations. We're going to shoot right into that. I just want to thank you guys again. Go check out EXP University. Love you all. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Randy. Have a great weekend, everyone.
All right, Holly Maloney, are you in the room?
Yes, I am.
All right, if you want to make your way to the stage, how about Dave, Kathleen, Tim, and Timothy? Are you all in here?
Dave Z is here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Dave, sounds good. What else? We got Kathleen, Tim, and Timothy. Are you all in the room?
Might be trying to make their way up.
All right, well, as they make their way up, Holly, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Have an amazing session.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. And good morning and good afternoon, everyone, to iConversations. This is one of my favorite times actually to moderate and actually to be on the panels as well. I have met so many wonderful, amazing agents from around the world, and I actually look forward to this. So without further ado, we're going to get right into this. Do we have everybody? I think there's Kathleen that just came up on here. So I'm going to start just with myself. I'm Holly Maloney. I'm a licensed agent in Ohio and Kentucky. I've been licensed for 18 years and have been with EXP just shy of about 5 years. And it has been amazing. I've been an icon agent 4 years and getting ready to be my fifth icon here at EXP. And it has been nothing short of amazing. So what I'm going to do as we start, I'm going to go and if our panel, if we would all, we'll start with Dave and welcome. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how long you've been at EXP, and if you're an individual agent, a team, that would be wonderful. So welcome.
Yes. Thank you, Holly. Appreciate that introduction. So this is my 18th year in real estate, 44. So I got started pretty early, and I'm out in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's my fourth year at EXP. Just entered my fourth year, just got my fourth Icon Award, and run a team. We've got about 10 total team members, and I love real estate. And I love being at EXP. So I'm excited for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. And how about you, Kathleen? Would you like to introduce yourself and give a little introduction?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Kathleen Welch. I'm in the Greenville, Spartanburg, upstate South Carolina area. I've just started my fourth year. I've been Icon twice. I'm on track to be Icon by this summer for the third time. I came into real estate and we had relocated to Greenville. I had 0 sphere. So I would tell you that if you're wondering if you can make Icon, you certainly can, because I started from the ground zero.
Fantastic. And how about Tim from California? Are you here?
I am.
Awesome.
I'm Tim Peebig. Tim Peebig from the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm on the East Bay, if anyone knows where that is, but it's near San Francisco, and cover that Alameda and Contra Costa County. I've been selling real estate for 35 years and love it. It's a great job, great thing to do. I love being an icon. I have 4 assistants and 1 licensed partner, and that's my introduction.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tim. And how about you, Timothy? Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey here? Maybe you're not here yet. So we'll wait, and when Tim gets here, we'll let him jump right in. But what I want to do is kind of start the hot topic seems to be everybody's talking about this crazy market. And it seems like we have a lot of veteran icon agents on here. And as I tell new agents, there's always some type of difficulty in every market. And we talk about, the shortage, multiple offers, um, going over list price. Dave, can you go into a little bit about how you and your team have overcome some of these obstacles?
Sure. Yeah, it is the topic right now. So we just had our team meeting on it. And you're right. This is, with this being my 18th year, I think this, if we have a cycle change here, which I don't really think we will right now, but it would be the fourth one that I've been part of. And there are challenges, but that means there's opportunities in every market. There really is. I made my career in the short sale days. That's really where I exploded my business, was in 2008. And short sales were just a lot of things realtors were afraid of. And I dove into it, and that became really my bread and butter. And now I don't do that anymore. So we just got to pivot to the market. But here's my advice. Be a professional. Be very educated about the market. Believe in what you're doing. I did tell a group of realtors the other day, if you don't believe in home ownership, then maybe you should get out of real estate, because it's uncomfortable right now when you take a buyer client. I'll give you an anecdotal example. We took a PE teacher to a new home community in the low 400s, which in Arizona, our median's 500. So it's a cheaper home. The new builder told me it was going to be $3,100 a month between his 5.25 FHA rate, PMI, everything. $3,100 a month for a brand new home buyer. That's uncomfortable for most people to process, but this is the market right now. And we believe in home ownership. We believe that that's still a better scenario than the alternative of renting or never owning a home. And you've got to believe in it and control the market, be the market, control the narrative, and know. So one resource that everybody in this room can use is Keeping Current Matters. I think it's $25, $35 a month. Go to Keeping Current Matters. They have such great data on what's happening in the market. So one video I'm putting together today is in the last 30 years, when interest rates have gone up over 1% in a year, all 6 markets had a price increase. The homes still continue to go up. And in 5 of the 6 markets, sales fell. So yes, less people bought homes. And so that should be our talking point, at least in our area, is that less people will buy, but homes will still appreciate. And that's what we've seen over the last 32 years. But get into your MLS, your data sources daily, and then own the mind share of your clients and who you're trying to talk to, and be the source, because everybody's wondering what the heck is going on. So put that message out to the market. So Keeping Current Matters is a website you can subscribe to, and they put together a lot of good data. And that's what I would recommend for most agents.
That is some great, great advice, Dave. It's funny that you said that. I also did short sales back in my day. And that is really important to, you hit the nail on the head, know your market, know what is going on, because you're the expert. People don't want to be sold, they want to be educated. And if you educate those buyers on what to expect, even though they're navigating through this crazy time, they're going to have the kind of expectations that you have given them. So they're not going to be disappointed. They're going to know what to expect. So that's some great advice. And I too use Keeping Current Matters. And I noticed we just put the link in there. So you can get on there. There's actually good, you can use it for your social media as well. It's awesome. And Kathleen, how about you? What have you done some things in this market? To be the expert, to help your clients?
Well, in addition to knowing your market, which I wholeheartedly agree with, and really almost down to where is growth happening, where's jobs growth, where could there still be areas of appreciation, I would really say the other thing is have a really good mortgage partner, someone who can help educate you on different ways to structure loans, different ways to structure deals to make that payment maybe easier for your client, or to really understand how much could they do in terms of appraisal gap guarantees or other things. And if you have those discussions with your clients before they go out and really fall in love with the house, it is so much easier because they're comfortable with where they can move. I use the analogy of we're going to create the picture frame before we actually get the picture. And that picture frame is your numbers and understanding different ways we could structure deals. And then we go find the houses, and they are so much more comfortable and feel like you've really helped them understand what they can do instead of them falling in love with a house and then trying to scramble to figure out how to make a very competitive offer.
That is super advice. Use your lender partners. That is so important. I feel like, even in our market, a lot of buyers are buying houses based on the payment. So if you have that up front, and your client, your buyer knows that going in, like you said, Kathleen, they're going to be more comfortable. I was just talking to a realtor last night, and they had given a referral to another realtor in a different state, and she had told me that that realtor had told her client that it's a terrible time to buy because it's a hard market. And again, it goes back to what Dave said. You have to be the expert and you have to educate these buyers. So, a lot of great information. Tim, do you have anything that you would like to add to this?
Sure. I've been doing this for a long time, going on 40 years. So I've seen a lot of up and down. And, what you need to do is you need to learn how to pivot on a changing market. So I wouldn't say, start changing the way you do stuff now, because the market in my area still remains the same, hot and heavy, multiple offers, etc. And what I found in all the years that I've been doing this, in the recessions, if we do hit a recession, what happens is there's kind of still a rush. Interest rates are going up. People are like, hurry, interest rates are going up, buy. So take advantage of that first. Sell as much as you can until it does change, but prepare. And you certainly could look at short sales, maybe REOs, but also do what always produces the most income. And in my opinion, a geographical farm always produces income in a good or bad market. And farming and dripping on your past clients and sphere of influence is one of the best things you could do in any market that will produce income year after year, no matter what the market is. So always do that. I like the idea Dave said, videos. I haven't really done that yet, but I plan to. I like what you did, Dave, maybe put it on. I'm not sure where you put it, but I was thinking when you said that, Facebook Lives or something like that. Getting back to what you must do, you must know your market. And when you're out there in the marketplace, best place to put your finger on the pulse and see what's going on, because we're selling houses every week or several times a month. So we can see a market changing before you read it in a newsletter or on the news. We know the market's changing. We know things are changing. And probably some of the first things you see in a changing market are concessions. So all of a sudden, there's less offers, and you're picking an offer where they want, the termite work done or a roof replaced. And the sellers are willing to do that because that's the best offer. So concessions and less offers are usually the first thing. Later comes price reductions. And if that happens, it's usually a result of multiple interest rate hikes, which they're talking about. So we'll have to wait and see, but, make hay while the sun shines. And right now the market's still good. And I also have, with this inflation, you got to put your cash in an asset. And what a better asset to, other than real estate. And some thoughts about real estate and about the values and things like that. What I tell my first time clients, a lot of times they want to buy a house and they have, I think Dave was saying $3,200 a month payment or something like that. I'll say, how about if we buy a duplex and you live in one and you have cash flow from the other one, and now you have a bigger tax write-off because half of your property is a rental, and you can do that tax write-off, depreciate it, as well as cash flow. and instead of 3,200 a month, maybe you're, down in the 2,000 a month or something like that. And instead of buying a $400,000 home, you could probably buy a $600,000 duplex, because that extra rent will help you qualify. So I've switched a lot of first-time home buyers into an investment mindset, and I tell them, we need to do this 2 or 3 times, and then you'll have wealth. We'll build wealth for you over the years. So I hope that helps.
That is really, really great advice. Very great advice. And I know we've talked about a little bit about our buyers' struggles that, that they have had, and that the struggles that the buyers and the sellers are having in this market. But a lot of what I'm hearing too as well is the struggles that agents are having. So navigating this market, Kathleen, what does your day look like? Because I feel, I get calls from new agents all the time, and they feel like they're being run ragged, and they're going here and there, and they cannot time block anymore because houses are coming on the market and they feel like that they're jumping. How are you avoiding or neutralizing that situation?
Okay, well, let me first preface this by saying I have never been, until I became a real estate agent, a morning person. I have been a night owl, but at this point, one of the keys to my success was I now get up at 4 a.m. and by 4:30 or 5 in the morning, I'm at my desk, and I get more accomplished between then and 6 a.m. when I have to get my kids up for school, probably the rest of the day. That's when I actually go and look what's come back on the market, what's new in the market. I actually stage text messages. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I
It's
can.
not. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Going yellow. I don't know why. I'm just making
No, you
sure.
sound great.
But I do a lot of the work for lead gen, for touching my current clients, for doing things when nobody else is going to talk to me, text me, call me, any of those other things. And I deliberately build in time towards the end of the day that I consider flex time. So if somebody wants to go see a house, I have space in there to show it, or rearrange something to go do a virtual tour earlier in the day. It is very tough in this market to time block, and the only way around that is to front load at some point. Early in the day was my choice. Maybe it's late at night if you're truly a night owl, but you have to find a time when nobody's going to interrupt you, and be ruthless in terms of not letting people distract you from that time, unless it's just a true emergency.
That is so true, Kathleen. That's great advice. And, because we all have these buyers, and email is not fast enough anymore. So they'll text you, I need to see a house now. And, one of the things that I do is, again, educate those buyers, have those buyer consultations that you sit down with them and set boundaries. So, that's great advice. Dave, do you have any other advice or any other little tricks that you do in your time blocking, and what does your day look like?
Yeah, good question. I'm not a time blocker, and I'm probably in the minority of that, but I have my reasons. But I think I subconsciously do it. I think. I mean, I kind of look at the day, do that. I applaud Kathleen. I'm not up at that hour. I was up at 5 o'clock today, and my mornings. I do have 5 little children. My mornings are my magic hour. There's you can find something called the Ballantine. I think it's called the Ballantine steps. Craig Ballantine, he just talks about typically all of us have a magic hour that Kathleen talked about. And that's where we just get more stuff done. And he's got like 3 C's where you can concentrate, and you have chaos, and then you I'm trying to think what the last third one is, where if you really get good at that magic hour, you can really get a lot done. Like I'm in that same boat. Like I did my video this morning, I created my thumbnail, my content. Now I just have to shoot it. But that was the most important thing for me to do today. And it might be different for everybody. Like, what's your one thing? Like, we're at EXP, but I love Gary Keller. Was never a KW agent, but wow, like that book, one thing. So this morning. That was the one thing I knew I wanted to get done. And I did it in that uninterrupted hour. And that kind of frees me from my time blocking, because now I could be like, because the second C with Craig Ballantyne is that chaos. And we do have to kind of allow the chaos to kind of come in, because I've had massive opportunities come my way because I was flexible with, I'm going to take that phone call, even though maybe I had been time blocking. That phone call comes in that led to, multiple six figures in my life because of that connection. So I like to have that focus time where I'm not going to maybe miss out on a prospect or a relationship, and do that either early or late. I know people that do that at 2 a.m. or midnight. And then I can stay committed to reading my kids their bedtime books and being home for dinner, and that's how I do it, but not so rigid in a time block. Now, you mentioned buyer consultations. That's one thing I will tell everybody right now. If you're not doing a very good buyer consultation, I think this will be a challenge, because as Tim said, and he's right, the market's not changing, but we're seeing leading indicators that it could be, it might be. And so that is going to take some time to come out there, but markets always change. So if we're not doing consultations when it's a little bit more uncomfortable, and letting buyers go through a self-discovery, and I think Kathleen's analogy of let's build a picture frame before the picture. I will not work with a client unless we sit down and go through a visual consultation where my buyer can take ownership of the plan that we're going to do, how we're going to come in with escalation clauses, waiving appraisals, waiving inspections, but it's got to be their idea and they have to buy into it. And if you simply use data, it's a lot easier than trying to talk to them in the driveway about a market. So I'll end with that.
That's great. And it sounds like something that we all have in common is that we all need our me time, our quiet time, to get ready for the day, either in the beginning or late at night. And I know that's so important. And Tim, do you have any one priority thing that you do every day? Did we
Did you
lose
say
you?
Tim?
Yes.
One thing that I do every day, I organize my day. I think you need to organize your day and have a plan of action. And my goal always is to be with clients. You can't make any money in the office unless you're prospecting and or following up on leads. You need to, in my experience, be belly to belly with a client to make money. So that's my goal. Have 2 or 3 appointments every day.
That's great. And that's such good advice because, I mentor a lot of agents and, help a lot of younger agents. And in this market, it's hard for them they find themselves coming and going, and they're running around with buyers and they're not spending that time prospecting, so they don't have the highs, so you don't have the highs and the lows in this business, that you just are steady Eddie across the stream. And leading into that, Tim, I'm gonna, start with you, since you brought that up. Do you buy leads, or how much time do you spend on lead generation, and marketing?
Would you repeat that for me?
So going into that, where you said that you time block and you follow up on leads, in this market, so many people are so busy just showing houses that when those buyers are gone, they're going to have, no inventory, no buyers, and people forget to prospect. How much time do you spend a week or a day on prospecting or marketing? And what times do you buy leads?
I don't prospect a whole lot. What I do is I've kind of delegated a lot of that out. So I would say at first you need to leverage yourself through KV, or you need leads to begin with. And I really haven't found a good source to buy. I've tried them all and they all kind of are not very good quality. So I find, organically getting leads, which would be open houses or past clients, sphere of influence, looking for referrals is the best source. And then you need to leverage that through KV Core. So now you have a CRM helping you do your job. Then you need to think, how can I create more in less time? So I would recommend that you hire assistants, and maybe you start with EC, which is cheap, that's transactional. And then you get a VA who, maybe in the Philippines at $5 an hour, and you have her or him follow up on leads, help you with your KV Core, just prospect. They can make calls for you. Then you concentrate on the A and B leads only. And that's what I do. I just call A and B leads, and then it's next. And then I'm out belly to belly with clients every day. Later on, after you're making money and have a consistent business, you can hire an in-office assistant. So you do need to be productive and you do need those leads. And if you're out with clients and buyers every day, then you need to have systems that are generating leads for you, like I just mentioned. Did that help, Holly?
That did. That's some really good advice. And KV Core, like you mentioned, that is such a robust system. And if you're not using it, it's great. I tried to delve in that because I do a lot in KV Core, and there's still so many things that I haven't touched. So that was one of my goals in 2022. So Dave, what advice
Can
would
I
you
ask a
have for?
question?
Sure.
Hi, this is Vanetta Hubbard, EXP Virginia. He mentioned that he could get an assistant in the Philippines for $5 an hour or something, and I would really like to know where that is, or how can I do that? How can we reach out and do that?
Tim, any advice?
Well, I get emails all the time where people are saying we're in the Philippines. I even get voicemails, and they're looking for work, and it's usually about $5 an hour. There's some that are a little higher than that. I found mine through a referral. Someone else was using them, and that's where I found mine. So if you're interested, I can probably get you her contact information.
And
Just let me know in the
nice
chat.
link in there as well.
Let me know in the chat.
I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Fantastic. And EXP also has transaction coordinators as well to help alleviate some of that paperwork off of you. And instead of hiring somebody as a full-time or a part-time assistant, you can use them per transaction if you'd like. So that's great advice. So Dave, real quick, what advice would you give agents to keep the highs and the lows, to keep their business steady? So, when you get busy, you get caught up, then all of a sudden everything is closed and you have no other prospects. What good advice would you give?
Yeah, great question. And I did drop a link into Sphere Rocket into the chat box. That's owned by an EXP agent. We use them. They're fantastic. So that's just one resource. So to avoid the highs and lows, it's got to be two things: consistency and persistency. And you've got to figure out how you want to deliver the consistency, but either way, you've got to be persistent. So what I did early on is I did not want to do, I think Tim and I are so different in a lot of ways, but I have a tremendous respect for Tim. I've shared the stage with him a few times now, and he has just an amazing business. And I think we've gone about it a little bit different ways. And that's the beauty of this. We can all go about it different ways. I went into advertising right away, just started spending money, just started doing marketing, because I really wanted to avoid that roller coaster, right? Know your disc profile. And most realtors are high D. I'm a D and an I, but I'm a 99S. Like, I need stability or else I don't function right. So to get that stability, I just started spending. Now, I entered real estate from a prior career where I had the money to do that, but that gave me constant supply of people because I had ads running 24/7. And so that was my consistency. My ads were running. And the persistency is going to be either in your follow-up, outsourcing your follow-up, but staying with those people beyond the one or two contacts. So, and you really have to cater it around what your lead source is going to be. So there's only really 4 lead sources. There's your low-hanging fruit, your long-term nurtures, your past clients, and then your reputation. I think Tim probably has an amazing reputation in his neck of the woods that's just going to get him business that a new agent doesn't have. And that's why this business gets easier. So how you're attracting those clients is going to dictate how you need to follow up with that. Because if I get an internet lead that's going to need 12 touches over 24 months, I can't do that. So I better have a system like KV Core and ISAs and other aspects to monitor that. But if you want to avoid the roller coaster, you better do the most important thing, which is prospecting daily. And I do time block 2 hours when I have it, a minimum of an hour. I don't know anybody that's achieved their goals without at least 1 hour a day of getting back to people or following up on new people. And that's just something that's immovable. That's something we just have to keep in our schedule. We can reschedule it, but you can't take it off. So you got to sign up for the boring monotony. And it doesn't have to be boring, but it can be boring to stay in routines. And that's why most people get out of them. So consistency and persistency.
And Holly?
Holly, did we lose you?
Holly? Okay, well, let me just add on to that since we may have lost Holly. One of the things I would tell new agents, and again, I started with Zero Sphere, and I, again, did this differently than my peers up here. I did have to buy leads at the beginning because I knew no one, but my goal was in 3 or 4 years to get out of paying for leads. But what I really found when I first started paying for some of those was I have what I now refer to as a pay to play mindset. And it's very easy for your time, let me back up. Your work will expand to fit the time you have. So it's very easy to take 3 hours to do something that maybe you had really only needed an hour to do it. If you put a value on your time and you start thinking about what is that going to cost me if I had to pay somebody, if I pay myself $25 an hour or $50 an hour, how much time did I just spend doing that thing? Prospecting is great, but for example, let's imagine you go and take a lot of courses on KV Core. How much money did you just spend in terms of your time? You suddenly start to go, I need to go get a prospect or 2 out of that. I need to get someone I'm belly to belly showing a house to. I need to get someone to the closing table to recoup those monies. So that notion again of being persistent and consistent, but also really start to think about where are you spending your time? How are you doing that? And make sure you're putting a dollar value on your time because that's actually your most important resource.
Yeah, Kathleen, I agree with all of that. And I think Holly logged off for a little bit. Some of the great things about the virtual world can also be some of the worst parts if we have technical issues. So if you guys don't mind, I'll step in for Holly till she gets back and move on to a few other questions. I think Holly is back. Let's see if we can hear her. Holly, are you back in?
Yes, I am back.
Great job.
I
All right.
For whatever reason, I apologize. Like you said, technology is wonderful when it works. So I missed, probably the end of your Dave. So I do have a question. I don't know if you covered this, but Kathleen, when you start to see your business lag, what do you do to give your business a boost? Do you have any secret sauce for that, or?
I try to have 10 conversations a day. And I know there are a number of coaches that talk about 10 conversations a day, but really try to be purposeful in terms of people that you run across. be it someone at your child's school or wherever, but to start to build relationships that maybe have nothing initially to do with real estate. But you never know, after the third or fourth conversation, you may say, hey, do you know anybody looking? Do you know any, I heard there's a rumor that there's a house coming up in your neighborhood. Do you know anything about that? And it's amazing how those can start to lead to people coming in to your network and your sphere that you can put into KV Core and start trying to follow them.
That's wonderful. That's one of the big things that I do is I work my sphere. I'm about 98% all referral business. I used to get leads and I found out, quickly that only 1 in 5 of those leads were somebody that would be very loyal to me through the years. And so I have worked my sphere and I get a lot of business from my sphere and from my neighborhood and my community and invest where I live and where I work. So that's one of the things that I do that I love. And I have a very meaningful relationship. And I want my clients to, when they think of anything with real estate, I want them to think of me. So I'm going to go on, and I don't know who we haven't heard from. I know you were talking, but Dave, just let's go to you really quick. And have you have any epic failures? Anything that was a great learning lesson that maybe you can give information on, so other people maybe could avoid that, and what lesson that you learned?
Sure, absolutely. One of my biggest failures was trying to grow a team for the sake of kind of growing a team. And so, it was that's kind of a natural progression. And Glenn Stanford, our CEO, and our CEO, but our owner and founder, Jason's our CEO, but he was just out here in Scottsdale and he was talking about how his vision for a solo agent to a team leader, to a team leader out of production, to a team leader that wants to then leave the office, not only be out of the production, but now does something else and has a manager, to eventually selling the franchise. That's where EXP evolved out of, and why EXP solves all those constraints. So when you look at rev share and equity and stock, right? But his mind was this was back years ago, he was so forward thinking on why these things are so hard to do and why EXP would solve a lot of that. That really made me think about my own failure, where I did want to go to these different milestones, and I did it out of order, and I did it kind of out of sequence, and it got out of control pretty quickly, where all of a sudden I have 10 realtors and I'm cutting a check for 60,000 for that month to stay afloat. That is not what I was anticipating, not what I was wanting. And it really helped me to, even though I was running a business, it helped me to really understand how to run a business and go hire a business coach. I had to make a really hard decision of letting go over half of my team in one day. Just say, sorry guys, I made a mistake, and it was hard, it was difficult. So for me, from that point moving forward, I had to know my numbers really, really well, and not just be an agent. I was already running a business, but not to the level I need to. And I went out and I found some really good help and found a really good coach who could help me understand what I was doing. And so sometimes we do things just because we think we should, or that's what our friends are doing. And like Gary Keller says, lead with revenue and not lead with, I should just grow and hire a team. Like Tim's model is extraordinarily profitable to have 4 assistants and only 1 licensed agent. That is going to be a very profitable business, but it's not common. It's not what we're taught. So for me, my failure was maybe ego telling me to build something that ended up costing me some money and some relationships. It was hard to let people go. So I don't know if that's going to be applicable to everybody, but hopefully you can take something out of that.
No, that is absolutely true, because once you get going, I feel like as a productive agent, the everybody has in mind that you have to build a team, and it's not for everybody. But going in with that, Tim, I know you have a team. How do you track? How do you track your team and how do you track your business?
Well, my team's easy to track because I only have one licensed associate, which I had a large team at one point, and I had 4 buyer agents and a listing partner and several assistants, and I found that a lot of them weren't as productive as I would like. So when I reinvented my team, I thought, get as many listings as you can. The overflow buyer leads and things like that could go to an agent. If I was going to have an agent that works under me, they would have to sell at least 20 deals a year. So when I brought her on, it was, first year, brand new agent, never sold real estate in her life. I said, your goal is to sell 20 deals a year, starting with your first year. Otherwise, you can't work for me. And, the first thing you have to do is don't talk to other agents because, if they're selling 3 or 4 deals a year, they don't know what they're talking about. You need to talk to only agents that are selling 20 deals or more, and me, I'll coach you. And her first year, she did 19 deals. And since then, it's 20 plus deals a year. So she's very profitable. And, most of the stuff she sells is half of it's cash, half of it's half cash, and it's high dollar volume. So she does really well. The team does well with her. My assistants help me do my stuff and help her as well. So I think you really need to, if you're going to be on a team and have a team, like Dave said, it has to be profitable and productive. You can't just have a team because you want a team. And it's not gross profits, it's net profits. Does that help?
Yes, that's good information as well. And Kathleen, I'm gonna like turn things around a little bit. Are you doing anything different this year in your business that you weren't doing last year?
Yes. I'll start off with, I waited too late in the process to get a transaction coordinator. That was a huge step up for my business. I am now getting someone who's going to be an assistant. And what that really is going to help me do is shed a lot of the things that are right now are taking away from lead generation. And taking off, it gets back to that 80-20 rule of you need to spend 80% of your time doing the things that are going to really help you move your business forward. And so I'm hopeful that that is really going to help me in terms of growing my business further.
That's great. And I was told once that's great information about a transaction coordinator because I was told a long time ago to hire before you need somebody. And that's great information. And the way that EXP has the transaction coordinators set up, you can use them per transaction just to dip your toe in the water, to free you up as agent to do the things that you do best is, list and sell properties. Is there anything that Dave, Kathleen, Tim, you guys would like to share with anybody before we open up for questions?
I have a thought, if you don't mind,
Absolutely.
Holly. So, the thought is because, when you're out there doing, working with buyers a lot, it's a tough business. And what I found is, you need to build relationships as quickly as possible. So first of all, your relationship, your ethics and your known relationship in the community through the other real estate agents needs to be stellar. So always conduct yourself in a good, positive way, but you need to also get to know the other top agents that have the listings in your area as much as possible. Go visit them on Brokers Open, stop by at an open house, become friendly with them. Then when you have an offer come in on one of their listings, they're going to move you to the top. That's how we get a lot of our buyer deals done, because I know everyone. I've been in the business forever. And but a newer agent or someone like that can just get out there purposely and develop those relationships. So that's regarding buyers.
Tim, that's great advice. I do the same. Like you said, you have to have a relationship not only with the buyers and sellers, but it's very important to have a good relationship with the other agents in your market, because if they know that you're a good agent and you're easy to work with, and it's going to be a smooth transaction, like you said, if they have 10, 15, 20 offers, you're going to go to the top because they know that you're a very competent agent. That was great advice. How about you, Dave? Kathleen, any last words?
Yeah, I
Advice?
can jump in. My advice is for free, since free is always better. But you need accountability in your life as an agent, and it shouldn't be your friend or your spouse. It's really hard to take accountability, like hard love from our friends. So my encouragement is everybody should have some accountability, some mentoring until you're ready. So where you're at in that process. And I will always pay for coaching. And I know everyone has different thoughts on that. I will always pay for coaching. It's too valuable for me. But the gift we have at EXP is revenue share. And so whether you actually recruit or not doesn't matter. You participate in the beauty of revenue share, meaning you have 7 people above you in this revenue share stream that have a vested interest in your success. If you are not connected with all 7 of them, start connecting with them and ask one of them. I guarantee you 1 out of your 7 will say, yes, I'll help you. I will help you. What do you need to get from here to here to here? And just stay connected to people who are where you want to be and learn from them, and it'll accelerate your career. And EXP is such a gift that we have that we don't have to go pay for it. So plug in to people that are producing and learn from them and help them keep you accountable.
That
I
is
would also add
fantastic.
things like shareholders and EXPCon. If you can go in person. Not only are you going to learn some valuable things in the sessions, but a lot of what I learned that helped me my first year were in the hallways. It was the side conversations. It was meeting people in my upline and forming that personal relationship that enabled me to call them and ask them questions. And it's been a huge game changer.
That is so true as well, Kathleen. I love to attend the events. That's where I get a lot of my, meet a lot of people and get a lot of great ideas. And like you said, Kathleen, I love that you said in the hallways. Where else can you be with 80,000 of the top agents that's willing to share everything? I mean, you can at EXP, the resources that are available is unlimited. So yeah, that all of this has been amazing. And I always learn a lot just being on these iConversations with my other fellow icons. Are there any other thoughts, any questions anybody would like to ask before we wrap this up? Somebody trying to say, well, this has been amazing. And I want to thank you, Dave and Kathleen and Tim. I always learn a lot myself just from being on these. And I hope this was very helpful and everybody took a little tidbit away and learned something, because if you can learn a little bit every single Friday at these iConversations, you're going to be better for it. And I want to thank you again, Dave, Kathleen, and Tim, and everyone for coming and participating.